All right, and we are live. Hey, everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. Once again, it is time for current events in the online fitness community. I'm going to cover revival fitness. I'm going to apologize. I might have to cough some stuff up. I've got a little bit of a head cold. I've got definitely having some drainage and stuff today. But you know what? We're going to do it live anyways because the people demand it. And Revival Fitness made his video about carnivore. He kind of threw some pops at me, calls out. Did a little bit of remixing of some stuff I said, mostly about Jordan Peterson, and he didn't like what I had to say. All right, he seemed to be bothered that I essentially said anybody who is promoting a carnivore diet is an ass clown. And that statement stands because no sane person is going to be convinced that there's a conspiracy by Big Broccoli to make you eat vegetables and that vegetables are hurting you, okay? You have to be an ignoramus to believe this nonsense, to believe that vegetables are bad for us as a species, okay? You have to ignore all science, all epidemiology, all the data we have and be convinced that there's a global conspiracy to convince people to eat broccoli, okay? In other words, it's ridiculous. And the problem is it has taken the fitness world by storm. And yes, I push back against it because I see it everywhere. Even people I know have jumped on this nonsense. And the thing is, you know, he tried to pull this thing of this excuse, well, I'm in good shape, I'm built. You've been doing it a year, okay? And we need to be clear, the concerns with the carnivore diet and why I said Jordan Peterson is killing people with this is because you are causing potentially permanent damage. It's not going to be actualized for years down the road. And he's like, well, you know, lots of people had health benefits. No, they had health benefits improved because some aspect of the diet helped. Okay. Like maybe they cut all the refined sugar out of their diet. Well, yeah, if you've got all sorts of autoimmune issues, yes, going to zero refined sugars will absolutely help you. But cutting the broccoli out of your diet is not helping you. No one is magically curing disease in their body because they don't eat asparagus anymore. That was the solution. I just had to cut that spinach out of my diet. I just had to cut the kiwi fruits out of my diet. That's what fixed my problems. You know how idiotic that is? And that's the problem with the diet. I don't have an issue with the ketogenic yet. And here's the thing. He brought up the point that, well, I've got psoriasis and it helped with that. You know what? I have psoriasis. I've been talking about it for 12, 13 years on my channel. It's a reason I can't let my beard grow out too long. It's one of the reasons I continue to shave my head in spite of it thinning. When people are like, why don't you just use minoxidil? Because then I'd still have to shave it because I have psoriasis. So then I'd have to do even more shaving if I use minoxidil to regrow the hair I'm losing. It's kind of stupid. Like I've discussed this for years. I also have Meniere's disease. These are both autoimmune issues. I am very familiar with the role of things like keto type diets and their potential treatment for these things. This is stuff I've utilized myself. But going from, hey, there's some autoimmune issues or some certain inflammatory markers that can be controlled with ketogenic diets to jumping all the way to carnivore is a ridiculous leap. To where you go, yep. Instead of saying, hey, I could live on steak and eggs and some vegetables, which would be perfectly fine in that context, to I'm going to cut out all the cardioprotective and antioxidants and fiber out of my diet. Okay, that's the problem. That is the problem. This is not going to work. It will harm your health. It will destroy your health in the long term. Because again, we come over to the issue of, he's like, well, I seem to be fine. We're net for now, except for the atherosclerosis that will accumulate. And it's not because you're eating some steak and eggs, guys. It's because you were removing the cardioprotective benefits of the antioxidants, the fiber, all this other stuff. And Omi, it didn't work. I did try with some, it wasn't 100% plant-based. No, it wasn't 100%. Okay. He can't compete with me on strength. Just stop, Roomba. Just stop. Pound for pound. Do you know how idiotic that sounds on the deadlift? Just stop. We've done studies on that. It's the least affected by body weight out of any of the big three. And it's not even used in powerlifting. He wouldn't beat me in a powerlifting meet, even on Wilk score. Just stop. Just stop. So don't pull this. He's as strong as you. He would lose in a powerlifting meet, straight up. You have no argument there. All right. Now, back over to the other point, that's also not going to save his gut biome. I don't care if he deadlifts 857 pounds. It is not going to save his gut biome in the long term from his low fiber diet. He is still going to have health problems. And this is why this diet is a problem. You are elevating LDL while losing the cardioprotective benefits. And I'm not saying automatically if your LDL is up that you're going to have problems. If you have other cardioprotective stuff that can offset it, it actually may not be that bad. It's subject to a lot of debate. If it's too high, you should still probably be on a statin. But yes, there are cardioprotective things in other foods you can eat. You are removing those. Now that you are removing those, it's problematic. So that is the issue. So yes, it's not about, hey, I feel good in the short term. That's not the point. You quit eating a bunch of junk, of course you feel better. You're also doing things that will help with certain inflammatory markers. So yes, things like your psoriasis is improving, but it's not because you stopped eating vegetables. That is the problem with the carnivore diet. And this is why people like Jordan Peterson, who, by the way, his daughter's health condition is probably not improved by the carnivore diet. The best experts who've looked at it have said that. I've seen articles and stuff written by the best experts in autoimmune disorders who are like, her disease actually oftentimes goes into remission, her age, just on its own with no lifestyle changes. It's probably not the diet at all. So again, ridiculousness. And so that's what I mean in ass clown. He's not even acknowledging the other stuff. He's just like, well, I feel good for now. I'm making gains. Okay, so if you feel good now and you're making gains, that would be a good reason why Trent is healthy. Using that logic, then Trent is perfectly healthy. I'm setting PRs and I feel good. You see the problem there? Okay, but doing a bunch of Trent probably isn't ideal for your health. I'm just saying. That same level of logic could be applied to that. Why don't you just blast 3 grams a year? You'll feel better and you'll get PRs. See how that works? That is not how we define health. It's ridiculous. So what we're looking at is, number one, the cardiac issue, but the other massive one, the big one, the really big one, is the gut flora extinction. And we know what happens with low fiber diets. If you run too low of a fiber diet for too long, yes, you can see permanent damage to your gut biome. Okay, sorry about the sneeze. I've got a cold. I apologize. Okay, staved off the sneeze. All right. So therein lay the issue. And this is not exclusive to carnivore diets. We know this because some standard American diets, people have gut flora extinction because their fiber's too low for too long. This creates the issue. Then what happens? What's the solution? Well, if probiotics and stuff don't work, the solution then becomes a fecal transplant. And there is the problem. He can get defensive all he wants, and he can say, well, call me, that's how I'm going to pop back. Well, what happens? What happens when you have these problems later? 2-3 years down the road, 4 years down the road, you're doing this diet, you've done it all this time, and then you have gut issues, permanent gut issues. Do you then come back and apologize and go, man, Blaha was right? Because lots of people have had these issues already. It's one of the biggest downsides to this diet. And the carnivore community doesn't talk about it because it doesn't fit into their little cult conspiracy mindset. And then Blaha over here must be working for Big Broccoli, right? Must be. So you're all conspiracy theorists. And the ironic part is I almost feel like, and I love beef, by the way, that the beef industry and stuff has probably helped pushing this. There's possibly a conspiracy theory on that end. There's no conspiracy theory to get humans to eat broccoli. Okay? Right? There's no conspiracy to get humans to eat broccoli. There's big agriculture trying to get us to eat some fruits and vegetables. Yep. They've impacted all the research all around the world to convince us to eat fruits and vegetables from every country on earth, all the researchers, because that's the mindset you have to go with that. So I would absolutely destroy him in a powerlifting meet, guys. It wouldn't even be close. Just stop. If we competed next week, I would win. When the dots are all totaled up. So, and I don't even know why people are bringing that up. He competes one weight class lighter. I'm 2 age classes older. I have a bigger total. Pretty much done. All right. Now, does anyone have anything real to talk about? Anybody got anything real to talk about now that we've covered this carnivore nonsense? Because yes, he is, when I say hurting people, probably not him, he doesn't have a big of an audience. Those comments were about Jordan Peterson, and I stand by that. It's a problem. Jordan Peterson has caused large scale harm by promoting this diet. In fact, Revival Fitness would have never heard about it other than that. And again, Revival, your psoriasis is probably improving because of the ketogenic aspect of the diet. It has nothing to do with the fact that you're avoiding fiber and vegetables. That is not helping your psoriasis in any way. There's no possible pathway by which it's even doing that. Again, this is why I'm saying this is absurd. Absolutely absurd. And I agree, the people that promote carnivore are idiots. And so I have to conclude based upon his response, right? Because I've always said people who are promoting carnivore are either idiots, they're willful idiots, or they're knowingly bad. They're knowingly doing harm for financial gain. I watched his video. It's very clear that he is only capable of seeing the myopic view of, well, the short term, I'm feeling better and my psoriasis improves, so I'm going to ignore all the scientific data on low vegetable intake. I'm going to ignore all the scientific data on antioxidants, on fiber, on gut biome health, and just ignore all of it and go, because I'm experiencing some short-term benefits, that this must be amazing. Okay? The Inuits, we've covered the Inuits in detail. Number one, the Inuits had a natural life expectancy of 55 on their ancestral diet, number one. Number two, they weren't full carnivore. They ate some berries and stuff when they were able to. Number three, they still got carbohydrates. They still got carbohydrates because of all the raw meat and the glycogen. Number four, the Inuits actually have a gene that makes them resistant from entering ketosis on top of that. So do you really want to use them as the pinnacle of health for your discussion here? You don't think that's a little intellectually dishonest, nipple yanker? Yeah, and they didn't do it by choice. They would have eaten some fruit if they had more of it. Now, that being said, do I necessarily have a problem with him bulking on a lower carb diet? No, you can get away with that. It works. I've gained muscle on lower carb diets. No one's arguing that you can't do that. Now, I will say, though, what was ironic is that he experienced one of the things I've warned people about. When I hear these carnivores pull this nonsense with butter, they're like, butter's a superfood. It's got all these nutrients. I'm like, you would have to eat like 5,000 to 6,000 calories of butter to get even close to the RDA on the vitamins you claim butter is full of. And I'm like, you would have so much gastrointestinal distress from eating that much butter and cream. It would give you diarrhea. I've said that on social media several times. Lo and behold, in his video, he says, yeah, I was doing that, but I had all sorts of explosive diarrhea. Exactly like I've told people, right? It doesn't work. It doesn't work, guys. No, it is not a valid way to eat, and I'm not slandering him. He is directly causing harm. Okay, Jordan Peterson is going to kill people by him promoting this diet, and it's going to cause enormous amounts of harm to people. And it would be one thing if it was like, well, American diet's doing it too. Yeah, but people are willfully doing that. People are going to this diet hoping to improve their health who actually want to do something healthy. That's a problem. That's a problem because you're then leading people astray who are trying to do something healthy. Nipple yanker, and it has nothing to do with removing the vegetables. That is not helping with your autoimmune health. And again, I'm speaking as someone who has researched these things, who does have autoimmune diseases. Yeah, Jordan Peterson is promoting it. People would not even know it existed if it wasn't for him. He put it on the radar. Every time he gets him and says, well, my daughter had all these benefits from it, except that she didn't. And the experts agree that she probably didn't get any of those benefits from that diet. Now, let's get over to some of y'all's fitness related questions. Can you explain the different ways body weight versus adding weight impacts dips and pull-ups differently? The total weight would probably be what you would go on very strong. There's probably not a huge difference between body weight added versus adding plates in terms of the total stimulus. So yeah, your total weight would be what's mattered. Mad Calves, I didn't say 65, I said 55. Alan, because I adjust it based on what's going on with water weight and how I look, because they're both valid approaches. And I've told you guys that for years. You can run both approaches. They both work. They both have pros and cons. And I do like to assess what's going on with my body with that. And that's common in the lifting world. That makes me pretty much normal. I mean, did you guys get upset every time Arnold rotated through them throughout the year? So it's okay for Arnold Schwarzenegger to do something, but not Jason Blaha. It's kind of the impression I get. So Arnold does it good. Jason does it bad. Gotcha. All right. All right. Peterson is paid by Ben. I'm not going to get into all this conspiracy. Okay, Jason, I agree with you that 100% all carnivore diet is silly, but I think that like 80% of calories, 80% of calories from animal protein, dude, most of us are eating way too many calories for that. Or now, are you saying, are you okay with 80% being animal source? I don't necessarily have a problem with that, but that's not the carnivore diet that anybody's following. Okay, that is not what anybody, you go to any carnivore group and they're like, no, you can't have any vegetables. None. They're generally doing stuff. I live on steak, eggs, and butter. Nothing else. Okay. That is what you're seeing in the carnivore groups. That's what's being promoted. It's not carnivore. Like you're talking about some kind of ketogenic diet that still has vegetables, which is okay. I don't see an issue with that. You know what? I think that can be reasonable as long as it's balanced and you're not eating a ton of bacon and butter in there. I don't see a problem. But that is not what these people are doing. Alan, I'm sticking at the 220 for now. I don't know what part of that was made unclear. I'm simply adjusting my macros. Like, I don't see why you feel like the person adjusting their macros is flip-flopping. So when Arnold did it, it was flip-flopping. It wasn't flip-flopping. When Ronnie Coleman did it, it wasn't flip-flopping. When all these people did it, it wasn't flip-flopping. But if Jason Blaha does it and adjusts his macros and his carbs versus fat, it's flip-flopping. So let me be clear. I'm the only person this applies to. Pro bodybuilders, it doesn't. All right. So you get rid of your stupid behind. I mean, like animal fats. No, I'm not going to advocate cream. No, I'm not going to advocate you drink a bunch of low nutrient cream. It's garbage. Now, are you talking Greek yogurt? Are you talking some whole milk? Yeah, I think that's reasonable. Cheese, I'll even be on board with that. But not the stuff that has been shown to really mess up your lipid profile and be low in nutrients. No. Change that heavy cream to yogurt or cheese and we're okay. Sorry, guys. I'm not a big fan of people adding a bunch of oils to their diets. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. And he is one of the butter-fed wackos. That is what Revival is doing. He is one of those butter-fed wackos. I'm like, I'm chugging heavy cream. I'm adding butter to everything. I eat no vegetables. Do you see what I mean? Thoughts on YK11 claims for I would be very reluctant to mess with anything that potentially interferes with myostatin. You ever seen what happens to people who are born with myostatin? It's a terrible disease. Plus, I think it's going to be pretty much goofball. Like, has anyone struggled to get big on already the conventional drugs? Like, how big are you trying to get, guys? I don't understand what the difference between nipple yanker, I have made entire videos even discussing the research comparing the two. Fortunately, I've discussed this in vast detail, and it's been heavily researched already in the lab. Whole milk versus butter or heavy cream does not produce the same blood work on a calorie per calorie basis. You know why? Because you've removed all the benefits of the milk. There are cardioprotective benefits to milk. In the protein, all the calcium, the magnesium, those things. When you strip those away and you skim the cream off the top, you lose the cardioprotective benefits. When you compare the blood work of people who have like 1,000 calories of either one in the lab, there's a difference. It's a vast difference in how their blood work looks. Now, do you understand? You've removed the beneficial stuff from the milk that protects you and protects your cardiovascular system from the saturated fat that actually makes it seem to not really be a big deal. So there's a big difference. So that's also like saying you don't understand when a food has been refined quite a bit of why there's problems with it. Yeah, you start stripping vitamins, minerals, and protein out of foods, they're not necessarily good for you at that point. That's called junk food. Nipple yanker, do you really want to test that on your body, or do you want to wait till that's research closer when we know what adding a bunch of butter does in the lab? So do you want to be your own experiment for that? Why can't you just eat healthier fats? Why can't you just eat some cheese or some Greek yogurt to get that same fat if you wanted it, which we know has benefits, and we know you don't get the same impact on your lipids? Why wouldn't you just do that? So why would you risk it and say, well, maybe the steak? But it's not just the protein. It's also the calcium, the magnesium, all those things in large quantities. It's the matrix of the whole food. All right. Marco says, I know a guy who tore his pec only on a 225 bench, and he's natty. He's quite lean, though. What do you think could have caused it? He's also probably overuse of some type. Funny, for 10,000 years, we knew humans were omnivores. Now suddenly we have carnivores and vegans. Exactly. It's insane. I've heard that people say the vegetables are poison, weeds and fibers. Yeah, that's ludicrous. I am double jointed due to disadvantage of being strong on bench. Not necessarily. You may be prone to certain injuries. Thoughts on RAD and LGD paired for TRT? Why don't you just use the real thing at that point? Butter fried steak is tasty, but you know what? Steak is tasty. Steak is pretty good, dude. Have you tried just cooking a steak with fire or in a skillet or grilling it? That's actually pretty dang good. You should try it sometimes. Oh, white rice has been stripped. It's been stripped of some nutrients, and that is actually a point of debate, Pepper. A lot of people will argue that point, that white rice has been stripped of some of the nutrients. Hasn't been stripped of all of it, though, not to the degree that heavy cream and butter has of milk. That is way, way more nutrients stripped out. But your point is valid, and there are nutritionists and experts who do say, hey, maybe it isn't ideal. Maybe brown rice probably is better overall in terms of nutrient profile, depending upon how you respond to it to some extent and what your insulin sensitivities and stuff are like. On a calorie per calorie basis, what's more in healthy butter? Legend, how are we defining margarine? I need to know how you're defining margarine. Are you talking about 20 years ago margarine? Are you talking about margarine in other countries with different laws? Or are you talking about the margarine in 2025 United States? Because I need a context for your question, because those are completely different substances chemically. So current margarine, now keep in mind, you're also asking me the lesser of evils. You're not asking me what I advocate. So let me be clear. I don't think you should really be sitting around eating any of those things. However, if we're going to go in a head-to-head comparison, again, seed oils are going to vary depending upon the oil quite a bit. I'm going to go unhealthy to most unhealthy. I'm going to say probably seed oils, the least unhealthy calorie for calorie of those three by a small margin. Not saying it's a big gap. I'm not saying you should eat it. I don't. Then maybe current modern margarine that has no trans fats because it's illegal. You go to prison for putting it in foods in America now, and it is strictly enforced. Then butter, and then the most dangerous would be the old school margarine. Absolutely. How's that for an answer? Now, that's technically four things because current margarine and old margarine are not even chemically close to each other. That being said, I don't really think you should be eating any of them. I don't think it's a good idea other than maybe an occasional cheat meal. Okay. Is avocado oil good? I mean, in small amounts, maybe if you needed to grease a pan, it's probably one of the safer ones. I wouldn't sit around drinking it or adding spoons of it. Marco says, I hate brown rice. I'd rather just eat potatoes, but then just eat potatoes. Avocados are a superfood. I agree. I eat avocados every day. Then again, lots of cultures live on white rice. True, and they have a lot of vegetables and stuff. Here's your take home. What does the diet look like of the people who eat the white rice? In order to make white rice work in a balanced diet, they're probably eating very little saturated fat. You almost always see that. And they still eat a lot of vegetables. A lot of vegetables. And yeah, and they do just fine. Jason, do you like, I don't like fish at all. Have 8 Dorian Yates toenails. Okay, that's weird. The Nordic Chad says, sup, coach? What's up, Chad? Marciano says, do you have strong biceps if you can curl 110 pounds? Yeah, I think decently so. I mean, are you talking, get rid of this nonsense. Especially if you're talking strict and for rep work. Like if you tell me someone can strict curl, say you try 110 dumbbell in each hand, you're talking about a pair of 110-pound dumbbells. Dude, even if you can cheat curl that, you got crazy strong biceps. Yeah, dude, that's strong. Self-improvement. No one's getting fat and eating a whole food diet. Generally not. How would you strength train for a BJJ athlete? Well, I've coached BJJ athletes. I've even had a vlog of a BJJ athlete. Some variations of conjugate or push-pull legs. Usually at least some really heavy work and then a bunch of hypertrophy work. Put a heavy focus on the support muscles they need, like hamstrings, glutes, triceps, and things. A lot of tendon support work, right? A lot of grip work. I love for any form of grappling athlete, I really like fat bars, like axle bars and fat bars. Dude, you do your pull-ups and rows and some deadlifts and stuff with those. That will carry over really, really well for all your grapplers. I definitely invest in an axle bar. It'll be worth it if you're going to do any sort of grappling sport. Who uses more gear, Michael Hearn or GVS? I don't know. I don't think Michael Hearn's a high doser. I've said that many times. I think he's just been doing small amounts for 30 years straight, and it's just accumulated. Thanks for the answer, Jason. What do you think about the wrist roller DI, do-it-yourself style for grip? Wrist rollers are okay. I still think at the end of the day, fat bars and hangs and stuff are going to be overall better. Right? Just do lots and lots of pulling raw and then do lots of pulling with the fat bar. I think you're going to get a lot out of it. Definitely some hammer curls and stuff that wouldn't hurt. Some reverse curls. You know, and I get that wrist rollers and things have their place. But I could also make a case for things like plate pinches, pinching a pair of plates together. Get progressively heavier with those. That can be really useful too. I seen a dude one day, the strongest I've ever seen on grip. I watched a guy pick up a pair of 45s, like smooth, like York plates in one hand and pick them up. And I'm like, oh my God, that's crazy. It was like 20 years ago at a gym. I watched a dude. He had crazy forearms though. Like that was impressive as hell. I think that's one of just regular gym going guys I've seen who displayed some crazy grip and had just some insane forearms. They were bigger than my forearms. You know, and I've got decent forearms, but he had freaking Popeye. Yeah, I watched a guy pick up a pair of the York plates on the smooth sides out. So he pinched them that way and picked it up with one hand. It's like, I mean, he's not up to here, but up off the floor and held it. Like, that's insane. All right. I can do heavy 110-pound dumbbells. Yeah, that's strong though, dude. I don't use because I don't feel like I need one. JVS trains like a shit ton with a bunch of junk volume. That's why I was wondering if he might be more gear than O'Hearn. Yeah, it's hard to say. Again, I don't think Mike's a high doser. And I know people are like, but he's so jacked and strong. It's like, dude, that's just consistent, modest doses with really, really good training. Keep in mind, O'Hearn training is dialed in and he's got good genetics. And he's been doing it a real, real long time. Lion, you're a weirdo. Do you think there are any benefits accommodating resistance like change for hypertrophy? Don't know about that. I don't know. I need to measure my forearms sometime. I'm actually curious. They could be 15. I don't know. Maybe. They're at least 14. I don't know if they're 15. Wasn't Strap-on struggling to get a 3-plate bench before he hopped on the sauce and he got a 405? Yeah. But wasn't that with wraps? I don't know. Why don't I measure my forearms? Michael Hearn is bound to give you a shout out at some point. I don't know about that. I mean, I like his training methods. I mean, again, I always tell people, say whatever you want about Mike, say whatever you want about the fake natty, but you can't claim his training is not dialed in. His training is immaculate, right? Why don't you measure your forearms? I don't know. You know what, Nipple? Let me go grab the thing. Let me see. I'll be right back. All right. Coach is back. All right. So, see if we can get this right. All right, where are we at? Offside. Okay. Let me flip it around the other way. Sorry about that. All right. I bet you they're not going to be 15. All right. Oh, God dang it. It's hard to do. All right, there we go. Where are we at? Can I spin it around? Where are they? There. Try this one more time, guys. Sorry about that. Sorry this is taking forever. I'm not used to trying to line this thing up on a camera. But I'm going to totally do it since he asked and he paid. Like, what the heck? Might as well. Okay. So where do we need to get that? Here. Okay. All right. 14 and a half. Make sure it's tight. All right. Looks like 14 and a half. A little over 14 and a half, but we'll round it down. All right. All right, where are we at, guys? Jason loves Eric. No, I don't. Are they almost the size of NH's biceps? I guess 17. No, dude, they're not 17. So it looks like just over 14 and a half bicep measurement. Ruben, it has an auto puller. When you press the button, it goes all the way. See? You just press it. It does. You don't pull it tight. It does itself, right? I actually don't know. Keep in mind, there's no bicep pump. So let's figure out what the biceps are. You guys might as well give me at least a super chat if I'm going to measure the biceps afterwards. People are going to talk shit no matter what they come in at. So let's see where we're at. Oh, I got to press the button. All right. Where are we at? So I can't get it. It's not over the top. I got to get it over the peak. This ain't working. I almost need a second person to help me with this. Let's try this again. Took me a couple tries with the forearm. Give me a minute, guys. We will get it. All right, let's try it this way. There we go. All right. So it looks like we're right at 16. Make sure it's tight. Okay, we're pressing the button. So we're right at 16 inches unpumped. All right, is everybody happy? So cold bicep at 16. Forearms are at 14 and a half. All right, where are we at? I watched one of NH's videos for you for the first time. No wonder you hate it. Yeah, exactly. The guy's a weirdo. Let's see. Do you think it's weird for men on the internet to ask you to measure your body parts? Yeah, it's a little weird. It's a little weird. What's up, coach? How you living? I'm living, dude. All right, so you guys got a cold measurement. Again, keep in mind, I've been sitting here chilling. It's not like I've been doing curls. There's 16 cold. All right. It's 2025. No one cares. They probably really don't. I'm not racist, but you know, whatever. The people always say this. They're like, you're a self-admitted racist. Well, that's easy to debunk. I'm not racist. There we go. All right. Next. So, coach, how you living? True. I doubt he's got 18-inch arms. Everyone is. I don't think everyone's a little racist. I mean, there's a specific meaning to that term. No, I don't. I don't think everyone. I think most people have some type of prejudice, but I don't think they're racist. There's a big difference, dude. Big difference. Yeah. All right. And here's what I mean, because racism implies that you think that a group is inferior or superior to another, or that they have less value, that they have less worth. And there's a little bit of difference between that and having some divergent viewpoints. There's a big jump. Thoughts on AI changing the fitness world? Has it really? 10-inch tan. You don't even lift, dude. I checked your channel. You don't even work out. Get out of here. All groups and individual. Well, yeah, differences even inside of groups. But Legend, here's the question: equal in different areas, or do you mean equal value as a human being? I think there's a big difference. Equal rights. There's a difference there. I noticed most haters most of them haven't. This 10-inch tan guy probably doesn't even lift. He probably doesn't even lift. Yeah, he doesn't have any videos. He doesn't lift. He doesn't have any videos. He probably can't even bench 225. All right. Jason, why does the right have an obsession with beef tallow and hates? I don't know. I don't have those. I guess I'm not a true right winger, though. I'm more of a libertarian leaning moderate. That's how I describe myself. Huckle, it originally started when I first got sued by Lane and Civation. I think that's when it all started. I didn't have any trolling or hate before that, other than Fate and Addie's threatening me. That explains the don't tread on me. Yeah. I'm not technically even a true conservative, I don't think. I'm more of a moderate with libertarian leanings, ultimately. Thoughts on thumbless grip for lat pull downs. Why? What are you hoping to gain from it? Does it feel better on your shoulders? Otherwise, I would say no, there's no need. I don't know if I have it, if it's away in storage, if I tossed it or not. I tossed a bunch of stuff due to that black mold situation, which I really didn't make up. Like I threw away a bunch of stuff. I threw away half my clothes because of that. I threw away my bed, bought a new mattress and everything. Do you do LinkedIn partials? No, not really. I don't know did I ever have a Gadsden t-shirt? Thoughts on behind the neck presses, if your shoulders allow for it. Do you use sunscreen since you live in a really, no, because I'm not outside long enough to worry about it really. So I don't wear sunscreen. Do I still have, I don't know. I would have to check. Fitness FAQ Natty or not, I don't know who that is. Can you do a video about Prophet Fear? I don't know enough about him. And does he even have a big enough channel for me to address? Inch, you're going to talk about benching 275. You watch me do rep work with 315 every week. Come on, dude. Just stop. Just stop. I don't think you actually lift. All right. So fitness FAQ. I should add him to the Natty or Not fitness FAQ. Let me get rid of basement bodybuilding got done. Let me pull him off the list. Mike Thurston got done. Pull him off the list. Where are we at, peoples? Man, I gave you guys a bicep measurement and nobody even gave a super for that. Oh, well. Thoughts on Kendo Booty's protein supplement. Why would I buy his? What's special about it? Christopher, the cold, completely cold because I'm not pumped. Bicep was 16. Right at 16, maybe a hair over. It was hard to tell, but it was at least 16. The forearm was just over 14 and a half. I use Optimal Nutrition. Thoughts on NH ignoring you? He's not ignoring me. He sees all of it. He's debating what to do. Again, he's obsessed with me. The measurement didn't look fake. Dude, I used a tape that clicks into place and pulls itself. Just stop. Ridiculous. Thoughts on Connor Murphy? Connor went insane a while back. According to Kinobody, it's the best protein on the market. Oh, of course he's going to say that. Yeah, 10-inch, because that's exactly what people who live that lifestyle do. They make troll accounts and come troll middle-aged lifter and YouTubers in their streams. Yeah, exactly. Tim, I think there's definitely a chance of that based on the way he's acted. All right. Connor Murphy said drinking ejaculate was the best protein, right? He went a little off the deep end. What do you think about Max Suit? I don't know anything about him. He's on my list to check out for Natty or not, though. Do you play video games or not? I haven't played any video games in a couple of years. Keno promotes collagen peptides. I tried them for a while because there was maybe some promising research, but as the data emerged and it became known they really wasn't useful, I quit. I've heard Frenchie isn't actually French. I think he's not. I don't think he's actually French, no. What in the hell happened in Thailand with Connor, Tony, Eugene, Leo? How would I know? When you doing Les Littles? When I get around to it, he's on the list. Is NH's wife just him in a wig? We've never seen his wife. Red Hash. We don't know that there's a wife at all, let alone a wig. He's never showed a picture to my knowledge. He just claims he has a wife. All right. Also, speaking of coaching, I have slots open, guys. Why aren't some of you guys applying? Marcinio, Red Hash, Matt, what's up? I got coaching slots open, man. Hit a brother up. Put in an application. What's the holdup? NH's accent sounds like he learned French as a second language from a young age. Okay. Pepper, I don't think that was intended to be his wife. People told me that was a dude. I got upset because I'm like, how are you going to talk about that heavenly blessed beauty like that? Plot twist, Frenchie is a shaman. I don't know. I guess he could be. Jason, do you coach people in wheelchairs? I mean, I could. Favorite Arnold Schwarzenegger film? I'm going to go with Predator. Predator. It's a classic. Predator is one of the greatest movies of all time. That's a cinematic masterpiece. Favorite board game? How are we defining a board game? Are we going to count this as a board game? I guess the closest thing to a board game that I think was really fun that I've tried was called Settlers of Catan. Do we count that as a board game? Does it count? What's your advice to Donald Trump? I'd like to see him clean his diet up and get under a barbell. What's your current weight? I'm 220 pounds right now. Did you watch Gladiator 2? Nope. Are you a fan of Mr. Jean-Claude Van Damme? Not really, no. I don't know Trump's real height. I have no way to know that or verify. I thought he was taller than that, but I guess I could be wrong. That was the impression I got. Yeah, Trump is busy. I would hope he's on TRT. Would your wheelchair clients get squats and good mornings? No, obviously not. Who would win in a fight, Wes Watson or Bradley Martin? Do either one of them train in any form of fighting? So here's my thing. Why do we care about non-fighters who would win in a fight between two non-fighters? Fight Time Production versus John Bravo. Doesn't Fight Time Production actually fight, like seriously fight? Or am I wrong? Am I misunderstanding that? I mean, as a general rule, I'm going to say that someone who really trains martial arts is probably going to be a better fighter than someone who only does it casually. Like, I mean, realistically, they're going to have the advantage. Skill does kind of matter. And fighting is a perishable skill. He actually trained and had a few fights. He was an amateur. Yeah, but if he got a fair amount of training. I'm not going to give a tour of my house. What's your number one looks maxing tip? Don't worry about silly stuff like terms like look maxing. Like even worrying about stuff like that is going to reduce the pussy you get. Probably even knowing what that term means is probably going to reduce the amount of poonage you even get. Fake sip investigator versus French bodybuilding enthusiast. I'm going to go with the fake sip investigator wins that one. Jason, are there any benefits to squatting super wide? Yeah. If your hips can handle it, squatting super wide just has better leverages for reaching depth in powerlifting. Problem is not everybody has the hip strength and the mobility to pull it off. And some people's structure will never allow for it. Brian Shaw versus a black bear. I'm going to go with the black bear probably. And no, that's not racist. How inactive from training did you get before you got your home gym? I didn't. I was training. I started building the home gym. I was training at a 24-hour fitness while I was building the home gym, like several days a week. I was training like 4 or 5 times pretty regularly. Is it possible to get shoulder pain from doing chin-ups? Yes. What happened to you? What do you mean? I'm off gear. I'm natty right now. What you talking about, legend? Do you think it's gay if you wipe too well? No. Gorillas are weaker than brown bears. Joe Rogan is crazy. Okay. Poor people hate carnivore. I think sane people hate carnivore. Scarlett Johansson or Jessica Alba? Man, while I'm going to go with Scarlett Johansson, I would be pretty happy if I had either one in my bed. Like, I wouldn't be complaining at all. All right. And I don't think any one of you would. Don't pretend like you would. All right. Are there any natural test boosters that work? No. Do you think Dr. Mike Israel watches your videos? I bet he does. Jason has gotten a better sense of fashion in the 2016 days, a little bit. You haven't seen me when I'm actually out much, have you? Or have you guys seen like when I've got my boots and everything on? Jason is Gen Z doomed. I don't know about that. Oh, Wallow, we don't need to go there, dude. Come on. We don't need all that. What was your whiskey of choice? I didn't like whiskey that much. As far as harder drinks, when I did drink, tequila and Jaeger. Usually what I drink. Women like men with boots. Yeah, in Texas they do. I got snake skins. I got lizard skins. Is there an optimal stance for squatting? No, that's going to depend on a lot of variables, including your hip structure. Greg says I've only had 2 drinks my entire life, and I would recommend you keep it that way. I am almost 6 years since my last drink. Gen Z boys can't get laid and are fanboying Andrew Tate. That's kind of sad. I don't think it's all of them. I think it's just a small percentage. All my exes live in Texas. Well, I don't want to go into that, but no, technically I have not. I've obviously had white girls. I've had Hispanic, Puerto Rican, Chinese, but no, never that. I haven't. Is there an optimal time of day to lift weights? No, whatever works for you. I like mornings though. Do you still advocate 12 to 20 sets per week for muscle group as maximum gains? 10 to 20. Why is Vegeta absent? He's upset. I know, right? Well, he was in the morning. He was in the breakfast chat, the coffee chat. So he's been in here. He's been like 40 minutes a day. Chinese was pretty good, pretty good. Her name was Mina. Jason wants to ban meat eaters and alcohol drinkers. I eat meat. What are you talking about, Wallo? I put pictures of my meat coming out of the oven, like my meal prepped meat all the time. Like you've seen me put up steaks, chicken breasts, chicken thighs, beef roast, all that stuff. How many clients did you cap? These days I'd probably cap somewhere between 25 and 30. I linked the video, Radish. What's the current program? I would lean towards conjugate-ish. Yep, there's lots of pictures of my meat. How would you train if you were in prison? I don't know. I'm not a pork fan, honestly, Marcinio, these days. Oh, Greg, I have under that. That's why I have slots open. I have less than 25. I'd like to be back at 25 right now. So if you guys want to apply, it would be real cool. The downside, a bunch of my clients are on packages though, so I'm not getting current monthly income. They paid me up front. I have like 5 people on 6-month packages right now because I do a 10% discount for that. And they're long timers. Have you thought about training coaches like the top IG personal trainers do? I don't know. How do we go about doing that? Jason, squatting narrower would you let you go deeper? In theory, yeah, you might get better quad growth of that. NH accused you of fake plates, and since his fangirls believe it's all proven with evidence, I guess your powerlifting meets use fake plates, right? Like Marco, even that 619 that I missed, we uploaded the footage at the meet, and they called state record attempt because I just broke the state record with the pull before. It exploded off the floor. I missed it at the knee. It just slowed down. It slowed down. So, I mean, I yanked it off the floor fast and it just stuck at the knee. So that must have been fake. No, Legend, I wouldn't do that. I think you can triple your income. I know I need to figure out how to market smarter, though. But you guys could also hire me to coach you or for some consultations. You guys know I do consultation calls, right? And I'm still running them at $50 for at least this month. I could do an OnlyFans. I think people would probably pay to see it. I think my haters would all pay for it. I bet National Hypertrophy would pay for it. Charge him $9, $9.99 a month. Do you do any paid therapy? No, I don't do therapy for people. I suppose I could give dating advice if dudes really wanted to hire me for advice on that. I mean, you can cover whatever you want in the consultations. I didn't coach David late. He ran one of my free programs. Legend, yeah, I had different plans that some of them haven't panned out. How much to make out with you, dude? I'm straight, man. Sorry. Or jumping jacks any good, man. All right, guys, we're closing in on the hour, aren't we? I probably have some client stuff I need to sort out. Some spreadsheets to sort. So I got to wind this down here soon. I'm getting some client messages. All right. Time flies when you're having fun, coach. So I hope it's been informative. I love all of you guys and gals. Guess let me give you guys a forearm shot before we go. And a Mount Bicephalus. Oh, Mount Bicephalus. And we're out.